Hello and welcome to Reaper's Goodbye, a visual novel developed by kalechips, available on itch.io. And apparently, this is about listening to stories of strangers before they board the midnight train. Whatever that means. I guess we'll see. And a bit of a content warning as well. This game is tagged as horror. I don't know if it's necessarily a scary game, but it may have some disturbing elements, so viewer discretion is advised. Alright, so the night sky of the countryside is wide, empty, and often soundless. Crickets may sing, but their song gets lost in the open air, soaking into nothingness. There's no hustle and bustle of crowds, there are no blaring car horns, just the wind through the grass that labors your own breath and you, as you tread the unpaved road. It is said in such a countryside, you may come across a man with a trail of cigarette smoke behind him. His shifty eyes dart across the scene, but pay him no mind. His goals lie elsewhere. A cursed individual can only take company with those of a similar fortune, you see. To exist between worlds means living tied to nothing. No home, no family, no sense of time. A man like that looks perfectly natural, wandering in the emptiness of a soundless sky. If you come across such a man, pay him no mind. He will walk on, leaving only smoke behind. Right, this home. Also, the game I feel like is a little low. I guess I'll, when I edit this for YouTube, or I mean, I am on YouTube, but when I edit this for the video, I'll probably increase the audio for post-processing. But if you meet such a man as eyes fix upon you, well, can you do? What can you do, rather? I don't know. Or what can he do? Okay, so, a bit of a typo. I feel like a few typos already, but, well, what can you do? What can he do? That's just how the world works. A cursed individual can only take company with those of a similar fortune. It's just the wheels of fate turning. You two just got caught in the spokes. Reaper's Goodbye. Alright. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It has a black and white kind of thing going on. Maybe these are the options, I guess. I just click. The town smells like roasting meat and alcohol. Okay. Je ne crois... I don't know French. Je ne crois pas mieux. What a surprise. To think the gods will lead us to this village just to meet again. The world works in mysterious ways, they say. An old fool or young heart, and wise beyond his years. Oh, mon ami, you give me a more cheerful face. Go ahead, smile for me. You never change, do you? Such a depressing company you can be. Perhaps your poor mother fed you nothing but bitters as a child. Ugh, so depressing, so depressing. I must drink away my sadness, quell or... I don't know how to do a French accent. The man turns around with a dramatic flourish. He begins walking to the nearest stall. He's been like that for the longest time. The man leads the way, babbling the whole time. This and that is always pointless. He's keen on talking. Finally, he shuts up at a humble food stall when a group of patrons tarry idly. There's a bespectacled, professional-looking man, a mature woman minding her own business, a jovial old man with a well-made suit, and a nervous-looking little girl hiding behind her scarf. Here's the chap I was speaking of. We can get this night started now. Oh, mon ami, don't be so sour. These poor souls missed their last train. They must spend the night without entertainment. It won't do. Let us trade stories until fate calls upon us. I personally find this so immature. Don't be such a... I don't know how to do too many voices. I can't do a lot of voices. Don't be such a stick in the mud. I can't think of a better way to spend the night. Well, I can think of one better way. Oh, I bet you can. See what magnific company we have. And so the wheels of fate were turning. That just reminds me of BlazBlue, whatever. The wheels of fate are turning. Round one. Or like, well, not round. They don't say round one. They say, I can't remember, but well, anyway. Or rather, they had already reached their destination. It was more or less unknown to the 6 strangers at the stall who awaited the train they would take them far, far away from here, or who awaited the train, or that would take them far, far away from here. The story of the lost souls and their startling tales begins now. Right? Reapers goodbye. Simplicity. You mentioned small saga. I don't know. I guess I'll look into it. Anyway, alright. So we get to choose, I guess. We talk to the French guy, mature woman, funny old guy, I'm assuming, little girl, and pompous, like the other old guy, but he's pompous. Anyway, and also we're eating something. Chopsticks? I feel like, because I saw the stall had like a Japanese kanji on it. Is this Japanese theme? I don't know. The introduction also kind of reminded me of an anime, actually. It's probably not the same thing, but, like a dude just walking around while smoking, it kind of reminds me of, what was that one? Mushishi, I think. It was an anime called Mushishi, which I kind of liked. It was about this, like, supernatural, kind of like doctor kind of guy who goes around fixing people's problems, except the problems are often caused by, spirits. But anyway, I don't know. You know what? Let's talk to... Oh, I don't know. Let's talk to the pompous guy first. Why not? Ghost stories? Oh, well, no, I haven't really. You don't get to talk about the cultish stuff in my line of work, since it's very scientific. I'm very factual, you see, but perhaps. The man nervously looks from side to side. Yes, well, just for tonight, since you insist. There's this one time, back in my school days. Right? I know visions. So apparently, yeah, according to the game page, this is about listening to, I guess, stories? Every character has a story to tell. It was in my college years when I found myself stuck in the rain between trains. I studied late and neglected to keep track of time. Indeed, the trains went on without me. I ended up beneath a street lamp with my umbrella doing little for the intensity of the weather. Looking out, I could hardly see anything except for the shine of wet gravel in the fog. Hey, are you lost? A voice rang out into the night. I couldn't tell if they were beside me or not. They sound like a man about my age. I still couldn't see them. Also, Hoi? Hoi, I'm Timmy. No, follow the tracks. If you go through the tunnel, you won't have to bother with rain. But the train. These tracks have been abandoned for years. Come on, let's go. Indeed, there were tracks in front of me. I followed them and came to the mouth of a tunnel, where a figure stood. Strangely, I couldn't catch his face. The mix of fog, rain, and darkness made it hard to see. I could tell he was, too, a student, and my nerves began to settle. I let down my umbrella and we entered the tunnel together. He began to ask questions about me. The tunnel was even darker than the outside, but thanks to our conversation, I felt completely at home. I explained the courses I was taking and the dorm I was at, the exams I was studying for, and my expectations for the future. I'm going to become a physician. You sound sure of yourself, he said. It's only a matter of time. The courses aren't so difficult if you study them properly. Anyone who says otherwise is making excuses. Naturally, not everyone can make it. That's just how it is. If everyone could achieve their dreams, the world might as well collapse. That's very much like you. I was confused by this statement, and my nerves were on end once again. Did I know this chap after all? I studied his face in vain. The darkness was too much. He was slightly taller than me. Maybe he was somebody I've met on campus. I tried to think of a way to catch his face. Say, do you have a light? It's a little... Of course. Give me a moment. He lit a match from his pocket. The bottom half of his face was illuminated, but I still couldn't think of anything. Despite being taller, he had an odd youth about him. How to say it? Well, normally at that age, a man begins to grow hair on their chin. Even when one shaves himself, there will still be little pocks where the hair will grow. No, for him, it was completely smooth. There was a roundness to his jaw that made me think of pubescent. Pubescent? I can't say that word for some reason. Prepubescent. I was thinking too much of it, so he caught me in the act. Something on my face? No, I quickly thought of something. I just don't recognize the uniform. So I suppose we won't be seeing each other at school. No, I suppose not. In the distance, I heard the blaring of a train. These tracks aren't used anymore, or I don't know who's saying this. Sometimes it's hard to tell. It's written like a book, you know. Sometimes when you write a book, it's like they don't, mention who's talking. I guess the stranger is saying this. These tracks aren't used anymore, remember? Of course. We would walk all along them all the time back then. We did? Well, normally I was too scared to, but you would push me along. I'd push back. Eventually, we would end up walking the tracks. We walked to school like that all the time. Paulo. Yes, it was Paulo, a friend from years ago. We'd studied together and walked along the train tracks, just as he said. I still couldn't see much of his face, but his voice still carried the same measured timbre as it had years ago. I was tempted to let out a laugh, but stopped before the empty tunnel would catch my voice. I suddenly became wary of the space around me as Paulo patted my shoulder in a friendly manner. Took you long enough. I was beginning to think you've forgotten all about me. Well, I've just been busy with school. My mind's a little tired. Of course. School. I see. So what was that? We had studied together for some time with the goal of going to the same university. The bar was extremely high, so we put our all into it. Paulo just smiled at me. Of course, hard work is important, but there's also a matter of natural ability. Some people are just built with better aptitude than others. It's by the grace of God these things come to me, or come to be. Truly, it's out of our hands. Checking. Can you save? I don't think you save. I don't think it matters. Paulo, I heard a train. It must be your imagination. How far is the exit? Probably a while. What, you don't trust nobody? It is out of our power how we are born, so it's naturally out of my power when I was selected for university. My friend was left to the wayside. He said he was just try again and be my underclassman, but Paulo tried again and again. He entered countless essays and repeated the tests over and over, but he somehow was unable to pass. By the grace of God, he simply couldn't. I fell out of contact because I naturally became so busy. There, it's at the tunnel mouth. It's going to hit us. You're worrying too hard. It's merely the pounding rain. Please understand, I hardly had time to even eat. It was cutthroat. Our futures were just going in different directions, and some to better places than others. No, up there. A light. It's coming. Ah. I turned to run the other direction, the small hope I would be dashed to bits, but a hand clamped to my shoulder so hard I nearly flung back. A hand so biting cold, I could feel it through my coat and in my bones. Where are you going? Are we going to walk through this place? Together as friends? I remembered this coldness. On a day with biting rain, I heard the news. After failing the entrance exam once more, my old friend Paulo wandered up onto a bridge far after midnight and flew over the railing just as the train passed. Oh, okay. Turns out friend's dead. Alright, see ya, Simplicity, by the way. The rumbling was getting closer. The light was creating a burning halo around him. The sound was piercing me. The light was piercing me. The sound was piercing me. The light was piercing me. The other end of the tunnel was just too far away. Was I going to die? At last, I could see his face. Young, and just as piercing as the light behind him. You were good at running ahead. The path always seemed to open just for you. Me, though, I could hardly get my foot in the door. Why? Why is it you? Why can you do it and I can't? Why is it you? The light was burning me. In that moment, I was sure I'd die. that everything I had worked for until now would have been smashed to bits. But then, the match, which was burning down to his fingertips, split into two and vanished into darkness. Paulo and the train disappeared at once. I was left alone in the dark of the tunnel with nothing but silence and the vague glint of the train tracks which had been abandoned long ago. And so that's the end of the story. As I said before, I'm not into the cult. Surely there's a scientific explanation for all this. Don't worry. This is like very, very like personal thing where I learned about my dead like friend who committed suicide. Don't worry about it. Perhaps I came up a bit cruel in my retelling. I can understand how someone uneducated might see it as. I feel like he didn't learn his lesson though. He didn't learn his lesson about like looking down on people. Anyway, he gives a resolute huff. He's convinced himself of something. Academia is an extremely cutthroat business. If you're unable to keep up, then it's your own fault. Nobody argues with him. Back to drinking once again. Alright? That's his story. And he's as arrogant as ever. Don't know if he's learned his lesson or he's just simply trying to, relieve his own guilt by pretending, continue acting this way. But alright, let's see. Okay, fine. Let's learn about the sexy female. The token sexy female. It's like, oh yes, I'm so sexy. I don't know. And she probably like sings at a bar or something. I don't know. Anyway. So you want a story from me, huh? Well, I got my fair share of stories. But scary ones aren't exactly my forte. Mostly I've just got tales of heartbreak. But maybe there's one. He takes a slow sip and sighs. How do you start these things? Whatever. It doesn't matter how I tell it. What's done is done, right? So it doesn't matter what I say. How was it? The beloved Jewel Spider. Once, there was a woman and her daughter. They loved each other very much. The woman brushed her daughter's hair every night and sang gentle songs to calm her. The time they spent together was truly the most happy time they had in either of their lives. You love me? Of course, Mama. How much do you love me? More than anything. You're such a good girl. Mama will give you a present, see? The woman gave her daughter a strange little box. It was thick and heavy, with a large clasp in the front. If you're ever in trouble, just open this box. Mama will come help you. Mama, I can just ask you if I'm in trouble. Of course, but one day. The woman continued to sing. Her gentle voice soothed the little girl, so the yelling from the next door or from the next room almost completely disappeared. When it was time to sleep, the girl snuggled close I can't speak. When it was time to sleep, the girl snuggled close so that she could only smell her mother's sweet perfume instead of stink of alcohol that permeated the air. She drifted off to sleep in her mother's arms, forgetting about the cramped room where they lived. La-di-da. One day, the little girl came home from school, and it was raining. She scrambled up the steps and pulled open the door. Mama, I'm home. Inside, she saw... Papa, what did you... The time the woman and her daughter spent together was truly the happiest time in either of their short lives. With the box hugged to her chest, the girl knew those days of love were never coming back. Mama! The girl became a woman, and that woman became cold. She lived in an apartment where the scent of alcohol permeated the air with a man who wasn't her husband. They got along fine unless they didn't. The man borrowed her money, and the woman borrowed his time. Okay. Hey, you have a little extra cash you could spot me? I gave you all I had last week. Useless. You haven't lent your man a little spending money. What kind of woman are you? Isn't this usually the opposite? It's kind of weird. I feel like in most societies, it's like the opposite, right? It's the woman that's supposed to be borrowing money from the man. If the man's borrowing money, that's just kind of like, it's, it's gender norms and whatnot, but usually Traditionally, anyway, if the man's borrowing money, I mean, come on, you're like, I don't know, you're like worse than trash. I don't know. Anyway, unless I don't know. That's just in this context, anyway. Of course, this obviously looks like an abusive relationship. But anyway, well, what kind of man are you? You can't even keep a job. Shut up, useless. Why don't you go and try working a little? Don't come back till you got something to show for yourself. So that was the exchange. And when returning to that cramped little hole, the woman could see that hideous man asleep with a glass tipped over next to him. Then he woke up, or when he woke up, she knew he'd be angry. That he would blame it all on her, and she would be tossed in the night again. Drifting off to sleep, she couldn't help but mourn her mother. She was the only one who ever loved her, and she was the only one she could love. And the rest of this world is just too dirty. Actually, I don't know. It looked like, I'm not sure if it's her father, or she said it was someone who was not her husband. So I don't know. That implies that it's a partner, not like her father, right? But it seems like if it is like a partner, it seems like I don't know, she just got with someone that's exactly just like her father, which, that's also a bit of a cliche as well, don't you call that daddy issues? Anyway, scratch. The woman kept the box after all those years. She hadn't opened it up yet. There's no point, but for some reason, there was a sound from the box. Something was alive in there. It was trying to get out. Scratch. Scratch. The woman turned over and tried to go back to sleep. There was a comfort there. The scratching was almost like a lullaby. And her eyes closed, she could almost feel her mother's arms around her. Another day of dirtiness, another day of pounding rain. How irritating. The breath, I hate it. The woman went home as usual. The man stunk more than ever and yelled as soon as she opened the door. It's not enough, aren't you trying? Useless. Muda. Anyway, you're doing this just to spite me, aren't you? What did I ever do to you? It's not my fault you gamble everything. You spend it faster than I can make it. You don't understand how hard it is for me. Can a man try to relax every once in a while? The economy isn't so great, so I expect to treat you like the Queen of Sheba. I'm asking you to help out, so help out. Come on, answer me. What's so funny, huh? Is this funny to you? Your breath. Quit joking around. The man froze. The box in the corner was shaking. What's that? Hey, what the hell is that? The box was shaking more and more. The man's grip tensed from nervousness. My mother is in that box. Quit joking around. My mother was killed by my father. Did you know that? She was killed by him and now she's in that box. She's looking after me even now. Okay, that confirms that, this is not her father. This is just, her partner that's just as abusive as her father. Anyway, you're lying. She gave me that box before she died. She said if I was in trouble, I should open it. What's in it then? I told you already. His grip loosened slowly. The air from the room had been sucked out in place of only the sound of light scratching. The man and the woman laid down and closed their eyes, but neither of them went to sleep that night. Once again, the woman was forced to go out and look for work. She brushed her hair and applied her makeup as the man smoked a cigarette, his eyes stuck on the box. You said when you're in trouble you should open the box, right? That's what my mother told me. Well, we've been in some trouble with money, all right. Don't touch that box. Huh? What'd you say to me? I'm just saying, we've been in some money trouble is all. I've been managing just fine. Maybe there's some kind of jewel in there, something to sell for good money. I said don't touch it. Come on, don't you want to see how much a mother's love is worth? The woman left for work with a loud and bitter laugh. Another day of dirtiness. Another day of pounding rain. The streetlights flickered on, the water droplets catching the light and blurring the buildings together. The woman trudged home after a long day of work. Again, I feel like the sound is like a little low. There's a way to like increase the sound. Again, I'll probably fix this, in post-processing. Anyway, a long day of work. The scent of cigarettes, beer, and sweat soaked her through. She suddenly thought of her mother's perfume. and through the rain, she thought she could hear a familiar tune. She ran as fast as her legs could take her. She scrambled up the stairs to her apartment and pressed her face against the door. The song could be heard inside. Behind the door, which held so many stains and fights and bruises, was an ocean of happy memories. In a world so dirty and cruel, how could you bring back those days of love? It's easy. You just have to open the box. There it was. A spider that shone like jewels, dangling from the ceiling. A sweet scent hung in the air as the beautiful melody rang out. On the ground, the box lay open and empty. You know, the curious dude just opened the box, of course. Please, please. Such a miracle could only make her laugh. Oh, come on, baby. Now do you see how much a mother's love is worth? Okay, there you go. And there you have it. They live happily ever after. That's how all good stories end, right? Oh, you look upset. Were you expecting something different? Or maybe the ending doesn't sound that happy to you. That doesn't matter either way. The little girl in the story wasn't me, so don't go dreaming. Once again, she acts elusive. Or perhaps that's just an unchangeable fact. Yeah, sometimes, you know, there's like two, you know, there's two like boxes. You know, there's this dialogue and this dialogue. Well, sometimes it's not dialogue. It's, you know, it's script. I don't know which one to read first. You know. Anyway, it's just a little tale I learned off the street. Okay. Makes you wonder how real any of these stories are. I mean, obviously they're meant to be fictional, but maybe they're just metaphors for what happened in real life, you know? I wonder. You know, my guess is that this guy killed his friend, you know? And this woman also, you know, killed her partner. I imagine that these are just metaphors, you know, for what they actually did. And that's my guess anyway. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway. Let's talk to this guy. This this fellow, this gentleman. The old man is more relaxed than anyone else here. You've got a good eye, kid. I got plenty of spooks left in me. Well, when you live a life like mine, you gotta get a few spooks. Plenty of sour times and things you can't talk about in front of children. But besides that, I do got a good story to tell. It was back in the day when I wasn't so damn wrinkled. Okay. I don't know what voice I'm giving. I don't know. The Sand Casket. It's not the kind of business you could talk about. Not then or now, but it brought in money. It was because of a real man's work. I had big dreams, and the boss said I promise. I was naive, but I still was rough around the edges. It was a different time, alright. You could tell I was a garbage man. I took out the trash when everyone was asleep. Nice and easy. Down the beach with a cliff. I can't speak. Nice and easy down on the beach with a cliffside. At a sight like you wouldn't believe. I finished the job, stare out into the sea, I can't speak. I finished the job and stare out into the sea, taking in the scents. Now that I think of it, it's damn crazy I never got caught. You shouldn't hang around the places you do business. Alright, I was caught, but it wasn't in the ordinary way. Even my golden years, I can't forget what I found in the sand. I finished my business and was taking in the moonshine, but I could have sworn there was a silhouette on the shore. Obviously, that's gonna set off some red alarms. This place was pretty out of the way, so I reached out for the piece and dared to look closer. Chasing the waves was some little kid. Big droopy eyes and a carefree smile. What the hell was the kid doing all the way out here? Hey, you, is the old man saying this? I don't know. Hey, you, come over here. Like a good kid, he tottered over. You could tell he's raised well. Youngins with manners like that normally come from good families. Hi, little guy. So tell me, where's your mom? What? No response? You could tell by his threads that he wasn't hurt for money or anything. He looked way too young to be some troubled runaway. He was pretty content for a lost baby. I could send him off to the police, but for certain reasons, I just didn't feel like visiting those guys. Like candy, don't you? Yeah, that's it. It was dangerous to have anybody running around during my job, but since it was just a little guy, I figured that he wouldn't be any trouble. My older self would never make such a stupid mistake. That's the kind of thinking that gets you 6 feet under, you know? Even kids can be hired, you know? They're gonna rat you out. Anyway, it actually became a ritual of mine to finish up work and sit and watch the ocean, the mystery child, sharing hard candies between us. What an odd pair we must have been. Rowdy no good like me and some upper class air stuffing our faces with sweets. You know, you shouldn't accept candy from strangers, but oh well. I decided not to think too hard about where he came from. I had given up my own past long ago. One night. That hell of a night. What? I don't understand why it caught me off guard, but the mystery kid has such a damn sad look on his face. All I could think of was driftwood floating out at sea, or a hooded little bird. I don't think I've seen anything sadder in my life. Hey little guy, you hungry? I got extra sweets tonight. But the kid just kept staring out over the waves, sad as hell. But come on, don't tell me, or tell me what's the matter with you. You miss your mom or something? Let me help you out. What's the face for, huh? I let the kid lead me across the shore. So I had my goods on me, for Christ's sakes. He ran with all the determination he could muster. Alright. We reached the far part of the beach, right under the cliffside. He stood and pointed at the ground, looking at me with those droopy eyes. My first thought was, this kid lost his toy or something. He was playing at the beach and buried it and forgot about his own. I did it all the time myself as a kid, so naturally I pulled out my shovel and got to thinking. Or got to digging, rather. I thought about digging, so I digged. There's nothing here, I'm telling you. Same response. I began to wonder if this kid was playing tricks on me or what, but something grabbed my mind. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but sometimes in this line of business, you sense things a little better than most people. At that point, it's up to your own personal brain to decide whether or not you keep going. I was young and very stupid, so you know how it already went already. Damn, it's gotta be. I shoveled more and more sand until it became dark and dense. All the while, the kid was looking at me with wandering eyes. My shovel met something at last. In the dense earth, I spotted a little fleck of white. Deeper. I had to go deeper. Covered up like a cicada shell was a pair of skeletons. A large one with a torn dress and pearls, and a smaller one that... Thank you, mister. Okay. Ghost kid. Good. Instead of horror on his face, so that's about it. There was a look of warm nostalgia. Times were very different back then, but the times treated me well, for the most part. But you get a few odd things here and there. Never did get to learn his name or how it happened. No use wondering now, no use wondering then. People disappear every day with a trace, but the world keeps turning. Frankly, I'm happy that I live in a world where things keep turning. I feel like that voice that I gave him is not very good. Well, I'm already committed. All right. Sure. I'm gonna save the girl for last. I don't know. She seems the most mysterious. So I'm gonna talk to this guy, French guy. Apparently, we know him. A story from me. I thought you'd never ask one of me. The only thing I love more than hearing a story is telling one. Beetle laughs and takes a long drag of the cigarette. Oh, what to do? Yes, this is it. Now lean a little closer. Guardian Angel. Before I was well established in my profession, I was pitifully... I can't speak. I can't read anything. Turns out I'm illiterate. It just so happens that I say things. It just happens to coincidentally, mash the things on screen like 50% of the time. No, Before I was well established in my profession, I was a pitifully penniless youth, traveling the country with little else than the clothes on my back. Not even proper threads, mind you. All shabby, out-of-season hand-me-downs. It depresses me just to remember it. Well, Laura... Anyhow, you can see how unfortunate I was at the time. There was nights where I would have no coin for shelter, and I like potato stars just to quell my hunger. I did manage to scrounge up enough to move to the city in hopes that I could find more opportunities there. I rented a small apartment in the lower end. It was cramped, dark space, or it was a cramped, dark space, hardly bigger than a closet with a single flickering bulb strung from the ceiling. Typical bachelor's apartment. A bed was a bare mattress held up by a rickety iron frame. I tried not to make such much movement lest I be awoken by rusty creaking. Something peculiar happened the day I settled into my apartment. I was staring up at the ceiling, willing myself to slumber, when I felt something at the side of my face. It was like an intense heat. When humans are in such darkness, their senses heighten so that even the slightest rise in temperature can be felt. So, in that darkness, I felt I was not alone. I shot upright and pulled at the bulb switch. I nearly yanked it off, completely in panic. I searched my cramped room but found nothing but mold and mouse holes. How depressing. Of course, I could not possibly sleep after such a feeling, so I headed out of the accursed room for some fresh air.
Oi, youngin', ye be lucky to meet me at a time like this.
Sitting on the street was a bedraggled old beggar. Her face was shrouded by stained cloth, and her fingers played across the empty air. Something you should know about my profession is that you meet a great many kinds of people. Each person has their own unique path to take, and intersections like these are akin to miracles. You may walk through life lonely and singular, or you may have a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So even in my amateur status, I understood this to be valuable. I wordlessly shuffled closer to the woman.
You seem to be wise as wise as well as lucky. Many a young'un walk past and pay with their lives. Wise and lucky how to stay alive, so I tell you this. Buy this from me for a copper, place it at your bedside, and sleep will come nice and easy.
In her outstretched hand, she produced a small communion cracker. Believer I was, the secrets of the universe, but even I had to raise an eyebrow. Besides that, I had little money to spare. In order to make rent, I had to cut down to a single meal a day.
Wise and lucky, but still doubtful. Buy this from me and you will see it in time. Everyone on this earth is blessed with a guardian angel. When you lay down to sleep tonight, see how the angel watches over us all.
Was she insane or speaking the truth? Either way, she was looking out for my health. I threw her a coin and made my way up the steps. Okay, we just buy into it, I guess. Sounds like a scam to me. I placed the cracker on the thin strip of floor between the bed and the door frame, lamenting my lightened pockets. What in the world? I learned to fall asleep and survive on little more than crumbs. At the end of the week, the beggar woman would appear on the street corner to sell me another blessing. Parting with coin always hurt, but the pain was lessened as my luck began to fly. Somehow, my business was taking off. I seemed that the whims of the city and the wishes of my heart had finally aligned. Magnifique. I don't know pronounce it. Magnifique. Magnifique. Magnifique, I guess. Magnifique. But all was not so rosy during these blooming youthful days. I must tell you of, in generous terms, an old friend, who was likewise a young man with little to call his own. He too was in the profession, and had much to say about it. So much to say that our entire walk home was consumed with contemplation. The same evening, he told me of his new residence. The beggar lady came for a usual exchange. You're living here? I sure am. I mean, where else could I go to this dump of a city? I found a room last week. Man, this make me miss home. Youngin', before you go off to bed, buy this for me for a copper. Huh? A copper? Miss, I'm not gonna buy the little thing from you when I can buy myself a tall drink. Please, youngin', ye will regret it if you... listen to this, she's completely off her rocker. That foolish friend of mine laughed loudly at the woman and spun on his heel. In his place, I exchanged a coin for the communion cracker, but her face looked like she was mourning. It's not too late, Tase. God, you're too generous. You need to learn how to say no to street people. We're hardly getting by ourselves. She might have a point. Just consider it, please. Just go to sleep already. And so just as paths intersect, they part. That night, dear listeners, I heard something I can never forget. I was laying in my bed. was that my angel staring back at me. The creak of a bed from somewhere in the complex. Hey, who the... What the hell? Hey! The following day, I learned that my friend hadn't shown up for work or so much as sent word. Or so... I don't know, it's hard to read this. Anyway, the following day, I learned that my friend hadn't shown up for work or so much as sent word. Sometime later, I saw the landlord grumbling around the complex, banging on a certain door with no answer. He seemingly disappeared clean off the face of the earth. How peculiar. But my mind wandered from it as soon as I received a letter saying I'd be accepted to a higher position with much better accommodations. Plans were made, suitcases were packed, and Lord knows how I paid communion up until the very last day. So that's this gentleman's tale of how I lived in my early years. Insightful, to say. I wasn't always so refined. Mon ami, I know how cruel I must sound, but with time you begin to see into people's hearts. You begin to understand who will make it and who will depart. Such is the way of our chosen path. The old fool smiles gently at the memory. Although it gets lonely watching over everyone's path, doesn't it? C'est la vie. Such is life. The other patrons look unnerved by his tale. Oh, what am I doing telling you this? Your icy stare tells you all I need. You're just about frozen over. But to him, it's just a nostalgic conversation. Okay. Just some spooky stories, that's all. As I eat. Num num num. What am I eating? I'm eating something, I guess. Num num num. Alright, let's talk to the girl. The little girl, who up until now was staring at the ground, finally looks up with steadfast eyes. She opens her mouth to speak, her voice trembles slightly. I have a story. Before I got here, before you all were here too, the tired eyes of the other patrons turned to her. Before I got on the train, there's unspoken fear in the air. Back at home. 5 passengers. What are you whining about now? Okay. There were funny things in Mama's house. A kid was looking out from the closet and walls, but Mama never believed me. Mama. I'm saying Mama, but Mama, Mamma mia. The other one played lots of jokes on Mama. Mama didn't like them. You nasty child. What? You hate me? What did I ever do to you? Disgusting. Get away from me. I asked the other one why they kept hurting Mama. All they would do was laugh at me. The face got all upturny and they laughed and laughed and laughed. What are you doing? Are you trying to play tricks on me again? Why? Why couldn't I have a normal child? Mama, I am a normal child, but there's a bad child here tricking you. Mama, please believe me. Somebody was playing at night. There was a big crack on the floor. No. Mama's mirror was smashed on the ground. Why? Why are you always so mean to me? I hate you. I tried to put the mirror back together, but there were too many pieces. The other one laughed at me over and over. Everything was broken. No matter what I do, things break. I'm a normal child, so why is it here too? At night, I decide to run away. Everyone will be happy if I'm gone. Ma won't have to cry anymore. I ran to the station where all the trains are, but no one was looking. I jumped up on board and sat down. I wanted to go far, far away, to a place where no one would know me. The train was cold and loud. The light flickered a lot. It was empty and lonely, except for 5 of the passengers. On board there was a pretty lady looking sadly out the window. A man with little glasses grumbling a lot. A fancy man with a little mustache humming to himself. And a nice grandpa who gave me candy. Okay, so those are the people we saw before. Interesting. Sweet. I wonder if in my new home I can get candy like this too.
Will I meet somebody as nice as that, Grandpa? That would be nice. Eating the candy, I counted the passengers in the car. 1, 2, 3, 4. What? I thought I saw 5 passengers. The 5th one was... No, not again. You can't be here. Get away right now. The train began to shake back and forth. Everyone started yelling. Everything began to rumble and I fell off my seat. The world turned in circles over and over and over. I was trying to be a good child. I never played any tricks on anyone. I never complained about my bedtime. I never talked back. So why? Why did this happen? I was trying to be a good child. I never played any tricks on anyone. I'm sorry, everyone. Sorry, Mama. That's what happened. Her voice peters out softly. The eyes locked on her now look desperately to each other. Nervously, the doctor speaks up. Well, she's quite the creative little girl, isn't she? Monsieur, you've got the goosebumps. The doctor scrambles for his words. It's just the chilly air, alright? Pretty late. What are you laughing at? The old man simply grins and muses softly. Oh yeah, the air is pretty chilly tonight. I've already decided long ago that I wouldn't regret anything. A man in my position doesn't get to be picky, you see. No chills like these don't bother me a bit. Truthful words, monsieur. Very few men in this day and age understand the nature of chills. The 2 older men laugh together as the doctor looks on in horror. You're all crazy, all of you. I need to get out of here right this instant. Where's my train at? And by pure coincidence, he is cut off by a muddy train horn. All of the faithful souls sit in utter silence. Despite the differences, there is an instant understanding between them. Time stops for no one, and the train won't wait forever. There's your way out, big man. Don't want to miss it. The lady takes a languid sip and eyes the panicked doctor. Slowly, the bespectacled man leaves his seat and walks in the direction of the horn. And after a little while, the lady follows after him. Even now, her expression hasn't changed. The old man finishes his drink and smiles warmly. He extends a wrinkled hand to the little girl. Don't want to be late, little lady. Miraculously, the girl accepts. The 2 walk hand in hand till their figures are overtaken by the dark. How heartwarming. What a perfect way to end the story. What am I saying? The night isn't nearly over yet. Oh, please, mon ami. Can't you indulge in this temporary bliss? I know what we must do, but there's no use in us complaining. As payment for straying from the path, we must assist Madame Fortune's grand plan. But, oh, how magnifique it would be if things had turned out differently. Maybe I'll become an actor on the silver screen. How my features will shine. The gruff wanderer speaks for the first time that night. I don't know what I be. In contrast to his intimidating appearance, his voice came out as fragile as a child. I don't know where I be. My mind goes blank when I think of anything else. Maybe this is all I was meant to do. Still much to do. But we must go on regardless. It is said in such a countryside, you may come across a man with a trail of cigarette smoke behind him. He speaks little and keeps to himself unless the powers that be force his hand. These people who wander without home or fortune carry a painful duty upon their shoulders. Any lost soul they find their journey must be cut down without mercy. A life of endless meetings and partings. That is a curse of a reaper. Right on time. The last of them have been delivered. Well, almost. You already know, don't you? I too was on that train. Funny, isn't it? Even though we're separate from the rest of humanity, we can bleed like any average man. I do it myself, but it seems that my own power is ineffective against myself. So the duty of deliverance falls onto your friend. Think of it this way. If you leave me in this phantasmal form, I'll eventually unbecome myself. Each part of me will chip away in the wind until nothing remains. So don't be sad. Being a Reaper really is a wonderful thing. We can meet again. And we can trade stories and eat well. Just as we have tonight. Alone on the edge of town, in the countryside, a Reaper stands with white knuckles around the handle of a well-kept sickle. The spirits of the town push in and out of the train, going somewhere far away, far beyond. He knows one day he'll be cut down just as his friend was. He'll exit this world as alone as he lived it. Huh? You. Oh, little girl. You're not dead. We will inevitably meet tragedy in our lives. Some will weep more than others. But it's said that the more dire the path, the more brilliant the miracles. A sum of wealth landing into your pocket, a brush of danger that leaves you untouched. Or perhaps it's something as simple as two lonely souls crossing paths. Okay, I don't know what that implied at the end there. I'm not entirely sure. But okay, I think the idea... Okay, I guess you can start again. I'm assuming this is the main menu. Okay. So, I don't know how all the stories tie in together. I don't know if they do or not. And I don't know if it matters. But I think the idea is that the only real story was involving the little girl, I guess. Apparently the little girl has the other the other one, which is implied to be like a supernatural split personality that has the power to kill everyone on a train. I don't know how that works exactly, but I don't know. Maybe there's a metaphor here that I'm missing. But I'm assuming those people that we were listening to stories from, those people were fated to die, as in they were already dead, is the idea. And the character, that we really briefly only see from the beginning and in the end, is the Reaper, as a Grim Reaper, someone who I guess reaps their souls, is the idea. So their duty was to kill them, right? And that includes the French guy too, apparently. Apparently there's multiple Reapers, and apparently you can become a Reaper even though you're mortal. So if you die, then you... I don't know, it's weird, but if you die, then you have to be killed by another Reaper. I don't know what the rules are. But I think it's implied, though, the little girl herself also became a Reaper. The idea? Again, I don't know how it works. Does she age? Or was she already dead? But then you become a Reaper, I guess, miraculously? I don't know. Again, I don't know what the prerequisites are, Do you have to send in a resume to, the Grim Reaper Society? I don't know. Anyway, I guess that's the implication, that she also became a Reaper, and thus their journey is to be together, right? Cutting down, countless souls who have died, and to keep killing them over and over again. Or at least, not so much kill them, because they're technically already dead, I think, is the idea. And so you're just simply, giving the coup de grace, is the idea. Maybe? I think that's the idea? I don't know. Again, I'm not sure, but their stories kind of imply that they done bad things, maybe, I mean, obviously there's the guy who robbed, people and everything. There's a guy who, I feel like it was implied that he killed his friend, and also the woman who killed a partner, but I'm not sure, though. That could just be like a crackpot theory, it maybe doesn't matter, It just so happens that they all happen to die the same place, and that's why we are supposed to reap their souls in the same place. We happen to also hear their stories, I guess. I'm assuming the ghost stories really... the ghost stories themselves are a little spooky, I guess, but that's not the point, really. It's more so learning about them, learning about their personalities and everything. How the doctor is very arrogant, is very insecure, I imagine, about his, intelligence, so that's why he acts like that, and stuff like that. And the woman, talks about her her traumatic past, and of course, the old man, talks about his adventures as a criminal or whatever.
is the idea, I guess, maybe? I don't know. It's just more so about learning about the characters rather than the actual, like, spooky part. Which, to be honest, is not really that scary, I guess. I guess it's just, like, I don't know what you call it, but, like, not that scary. The actual spooky part. Yeah. I don't know. But, I guess that's the idea. I really like, the game itself. It's kind of like a little compilation of short stories plus like an overarching plot, I guess. Is how it's set up. And yeah, I mean, how do I feel about it? I mean, I think it's all right. I like the art. The art is really good, by the way. It's very like unique and it stands out. The writing is okay as well. I feel like there's a few typos. Not too bad, really. It might be because of me also misreading parts as well. But there's at least, I think, a few typos. A couple at the very least. I think there's some words that you just mistyped or something, But other than that, I think it's good. I like how, like, there's like, I mean, it was hard for me to read, but it was interesting how, like, there was descriptive text over here and then there's like dialogue over here, or both, It's like there's like two things going on at the same time, and sometimes it's kind of interesting, how like things are happening simultaneously. It's kind of, I don't know what the tone the game was trying to give necessarily, but it did give a bit of like a chaotic feel to it, if things are happening two times in a row, I don't know if that's a good thing or not sometimes, but like when it is appropriate, it's actually pretty cool, how like you're supposed to be reading this, but then something's happening over here, it's interesting. And I guess, yeah, what else? I mean, the only thing, I mean, again, I mentioned this already, but like the sound of the game though is really low, I gotta say. There's no way to turn it up, I feel like. I'm gonna need to, again, increase the volume, when I edit this. I feel like, because on OBS, I can see, it's just really low. I'll fix that later, I guess. But yeah. Anything else? Yeah, I mean, yeah, overall, it's just, it was enjoyable, I gotta say. Again, I wasn't really all that scared, It was tagged as horror. I don't think it's meant to be scared, necessarily. But, I don't know, maybe that's just me. I don't know. I guess, like, spooky ghost stories just doesn't sound all that scary to me. Especially when it's like, especially I had the vibe where like, all these people are. I feel like I kind of already knew that actually from the very beginning. It wasn't much of a plot twist really, but yeah, I kind of knew that all these people were all gonna die, just from the implication, really, just from the very beginning. Even kind of like mentions, waiting for midnight train and they're serving lost souls. Even the prologue even mentions like something like that, right? So I felt like it was kind of obvious. But anyway. But yeah, I guess that's it for REAPER'S Goodbye. But yeah, I guess, if you're watching the video and if you wanna, see more content, then don't forget to click on the subscribe button. I also stream these games live, so if you want to get notified as well, you can change the notification setting from personalized to all. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you then.